Nekomiya Mana, whose agent name is Nekomata, is a 5-star character from the Cunning Hares faction. She's a high-speed, attack specialty character with physical elemental attacks, and she's perfect for anyone who enjoys fast chain combos with minimal recovery frames. She's perfect for those that prefer a more mashy, fast-hitting, in-and-out offensive gameplay when it comes to attacking, but that said, she does reward you for good positional gameplay and dodge reactions, with passives and talents that grant her significant damage bonuses for attacking from the back, as well as well-timed dodges and reactive assist. So let's take a look at her kit. Nekomata's basic attack, Kitty Slash, is a 5-button attack string that really shows off her agility. The 4th and 5th attack causes you to slide through your enemy, and on the last slash you've got a 33% chance of repeating this hit up to 3 additional times. This causes you to slide back and forth, dealing additional damage. When triggering these additional strikes, make sure you keep on mashing or holding down the attack button, otherwise the attack will end prematurely. You can also hold down the attack button at any time to perform Crimson Blade. So this attack is just the slide attack from the end of your basic attack string, and it can be used after the 1st, 2nd or 3rd hit of any basic attack string. It functions in exactly the same way as her slide attack from her regular combo, and has a 33% chance of repeating the slide attack an additional 3 times. That said though, I wouldn't really recommend using this mid-combo over simply performing her full 5-hit basic attack string, as the damage multiplier that you would normally get from her 4th attack in the regular basic attack string has a much higher damage multiplier. The main use for this attack is to utilize it as a repositional tool, as it forces a slide attack at any time. Next up, let's look at Nekomata's special attack, Surprise Attack. So this causes Nekomata to jump up in the air, performing a 4-hit spinning attack and then landing in a ground slam. This ability isn't really anything special, as it's got pretty bad damage multipliers. It's generally not recommended to use this attack due to its low effectiveness and bad damage output compared to other abilities. Instead, you should be focusing on her basic attack combo and saving the special for when you have enough EX meter to perform her EX special attack instead for more substantial damage. And so with that, once Nekomata has 40 energy, she'll instead perform Super Surprise Attack. This is a much more powerful attack that causes her to perform the same 4-hit frontal somersault into a 2-hit cross slash in front of her. The damage from this is significantly higher than the non-EX variant, and comboing this attack along with your basic combo will be your primary source of damage. Okay, now onto dash attacks. Nekomata's dash attack is triggered when you press attack straight after dashing or performing a non-perfect dodge. There's really nothing too special about this attack. It's a fast move that acts as a decent gap closer that leads smoothly into Nekomata's basic attack string. If you do however do this during a perfect dodge, pressing attack will instead perform Phantom Claws, slowing down time and causing Nekomata to do 5 rapid slash attacks, during which she is invulnerable to damage throughout the entire animation. This move is something that you always want to be keeping an eye out for, as her core passive grants her a damage increase for 6 seconds after every perfect dodge counter. Next up, Nekomata's Chain Attack. Force Swipe is an attack that becomes available when Nekomata is off field and your current on-field character lands a stun on an enemy. You're then able to pick between your 2 inactive team members' chain attacks. For Nekomata's one, the damage is comparable to her basic attack string without the bonus slashes, but spread over a wider area, slashing all enemies in range. Next up, we have Nekomata's ultimate attack. This has her do the iconic cat butt wiggle before unleashing a flurry of rapid strikes in a large area. This deals a large amount of physical damage, and Nekomata is invulnerable during the entire animation. And now onto her assist moves. Nekomata, being an attack specialty character, is primarily played as an on-field character. As such, the majority of her assist moves provide little utility other than being a means of getting her back on field quickly. Her reactive assist has her come back in dealing 4 rapid side-to-side attacks, and this can trigger off a number of different attacks that depends on the character triggering it. When playing with another agent on field, with Nekomata in the 2nd slot, pressing the swap in button as soon as you get attacked will cause Nekomata to perform a parry attack as she swaps in. This deals a significant amount of stun, and pressing attack straight after this defensive swap in will have Nekomata perform 2 quick dash attacks, followed by a ground slam dealing additional damage on top of the stun from the initial defensive assist. Okay, so now let's take a look at Nekomata's core passive and additional ability. Neko's core passive Stealthy Paws gives her a whopping 60% damage boost for 6 seconds after any dodge counter or quick assist. So this is huge, and you always want to be making sure that you're taking advantage of this. Nekomata's EX skill has a massive multiplier, and we can further increase this by making sure that we only use it after we activate the Stealthy Paws buff, making sure that we time out a perfect dodge counter before we use that precious energy. The same goes for her ultimate. Likewise, swapping her in off of a quick assist will also give you this bonus, and so this is also a perfect time to unload her damage. We're going to be making use of this in Nekomata's optimal team combo, so I'll show that a little later. Nekomata's additional ability, Catwalk, is activated when she's in a team with any character with the same attribute or faction. So this is either the physical attribute or the faction Cunning Hairs. When active, it grants Nekomata a 35% damage bonus on her next EX special, stacking up to 2 times for a total of 70% bonus damage. And so let's talk team building. The optimal team for Nekomata is going to allow her to make full use of both of these core skills that we've just looked at. We want a team that is able to inflict multiple assaults in order to give her 2 stacks on her EX special buff, and then we also want someone who's able to reliably trigger a quick assist in order to give her the 60% stealthy pause buff upon swap in. So this is currently the best hypercarry Nekomata team: Nekomata, Piper, and Lucy. So what makes this team so powerful is that Piper is currently the best physical anomaly applicator in the game. She's able to trigger 2 stacks of assault in a single rotation, which is perfect as it grants Nekomata the 2 stacks that she needs to max out her passive. Lucy is the best anchor in the team, and she needs to be placed in the 3rd slot as she's got a very reliable way of triggering quick assist to get Nekomata back into the battle. Lucy's EX skill has a 100% chance to trigger a reactive assist for the next character, which in our case is Nekomata. This means that we're able to always get Nekomata's stealthy pause buff to activate. Not only that, Lucy's EX skill also applies the buff Cheer On, which grants up to a maximum of 600 attack to the team for 15 seconds when used. So not only are we able to stack 2 stacks of Catwalk for 70% damage on the next Nekomata EX skill, we're also swapping her in with a 60% damage bonus and 600 bonus attack. So I'll let the full rotation play out on screen first without commentary, and then we'll replay it and break it down for those of you who need the play-by-play.
Out of my way!
It's a fact!
Take this!
Out of my way! Wanna try my massage? I'm not a loser! That'll teach ya! Buckle up! Don't worry, it's gonna hurt a lot. Perfect teamwork!
Okay, so when I start any fight with Nekomata, I'm looking to do a perfect dodge counter to get my buff up. For enemies that are slow, 6 seconds will get you enough time to do 1 full combo into an EX. So this enemy here is a little bit faster though, so I don't have enough time to do the EX, so instead I parry his attack, which brings in Piper. With Piper in here, I do 1 full rotation of her EX, which costs her half of her full EX meter, so the aim here is to trigger 2 assaults to get 2 stacks on Neko, and this is pretty easy for Piper to do. So usually here you do enough days to trigger a stun, which activates a chain combo. So we can use this chain combo to then bring in Lucy, and if you don't manage to get enough stun, then I simply just look to trigger a parry to bring her in instead. So once Lucy is in, you'll see that Neko's reactive assist is available, but it's important that you don't trigger this yet, as you want to use Lucy's EX skill first in order to get the Cheer On buff. Once you do use it, you can then activate the reactive assist, bringing Nekomata back on field with all the buffs. And so once Nekomata is back on field, it's just the full basic attack string into EX as usual. If I've got her ultimate up, I'll also use it here to make use of all of the stacked buffs, and from here I simply look for another opportunity to parry Piper back in to start the rotation again. Okay, now so what about alternative teams? So because Piper and Lucy are both gacha characters, you might not have them. So instead, you can run this team combo of Nekomata, Billy, and Nicole, which plays similarly. You won't have the same amount of physical anomaly build-up with Billy as you would with Piper, so you're likely only going to get 1 stack of assault per rotation, And then with Nicole as your anchor, you still get access to the same guaranteed swap in off of her EX skill, but instead of buffing your team with attack, Nicole will instead reduce the defense of any enemies hit by her EX skill. Now let's have a look at Nekomata's dupes, or as they call it in ZZZ, Mindscapes. So Nika's M1 is her best stopping point and by far her most interesting Mindscape. It causes her to ignore 16% of her target's physical resistance when attacking from behind, and in turn causes all attacks on stunned opponents to be considered as back attacks. It really does make me wonder why this wasn't part of her base kit, as everything about her basic attack string seems to point to this being the optimal way of playing her. Her M2 Cat and Mouse gives her a 25% energy regeneration rate when there's only one enemy left on the field and Nekomata is in combat. So this can be nice for boss killing, netting you a handful of extra EX skills, but really isn't going to be game changing. Nika's M4 Sharpened Claws gives her a 7% crit boost for 15 seconds whenever she uses her EX special. This stacks up to 2 times. So the duration on each stack is calculated separately, but at 15 seconds it's going to be more than enough for you to do a full 5-hit basic attack string into EX 3 times, with the second and third EX skills taking full benefit of the full 14% crit rate boost. And then finally, Nekomata's M6 Predator Lineage gives her an 18% crit damage boost whenever she launches a chain attack or uses her ultimate. This stacks up to 3 times. This buff lasts indefinitely and only expires once Nekomata leaves the field. Upon defeating an enemy, she'll also gain the full 3 stacks. So this Mindscape I'm not huge on. It really does seem like her M2 through to M6 is trying to push her into being a main DPS that stays on field for as long as possible. But based on the supports that we currently have in game, it just simply feels as though the trade-off just isn't worth it right now. Maybe in the future when we get more supports with longer duration off-field buffs or off-field DPSs, this might be more valuable, but at the moment with the supports that we have in game only providing 10 to 12 second buffs, Nekomata will still benefit more playing in a swap-based comp in order to rack up those damage buffs. So in terms of Nekomata's builds, you've got quite a few options that all sit fairly close to each other in terms of effectiveness. Puffer Electro is going to be the best burst damage base set, granting the highest amount of damage in the smallest window. It gives us an 8% damage penetration bonus along with a 20% bonus to our ultimate and a 15% attack buff for 12 seconds after using an ultimate. So Nika's ultimate has a 3143% damage multiplier at level 12, which is pretty high, so she'll get quite a bit out of the ultimate buff. With the rotation that we spoke about earlier, we're going to want to unload the ultimate right as she swaps in to make use of that 12-second attack buff while we do our attack string. This set is going to be the best when it comes to killing bosses, but it can fall behind when dealing with crowds of weaker enemies. On the other hand though, we've got a more generalist set, which is the Woodpecker Electro set. It grants 8% crit rate, and then landing a crit with a basic, dodge counter or EX special is going to increase your attack by 9% for 6 seconds. So each instance of basic, dodge counter or EX is going to have its own stack with its own countdown timer, so you can get up to 27% attack from this. It's a really great set for Nekomiya as she attacks so fast and makes full use of all 3 attack types, but it does require a little ramp up time, so you typically only have about 2 stacks most of the time. Its consistency does go up as your crit ratios improve however. And then lastly, we've got the Fanged Metal set. So this one here is particularly good when we're running with the Piper comp that I shared earlier, as you're going to get very consistent assault procs on every rotation. It grants 10% physical damage from the 2-piece, and then a huge 35% damage bonus after an enemy is inflicted by assault by any squad member, and this lasts for 12 seconds. So this is amazing for this comp, and the only reason why I didn't put this up at the start is that not everyone is going to be running Nekomiya on a Piper team. But if your Piper is going to be glued to your Neko, then this is going to be the best set. This set does depend on the fact that Piper can get so many consistent assaults out, so if you're not running Piper, then it's going to feel a little bit more awkward getting the timings right to stack buffs. In terms of the stats that we're going to be looking for, Disc 1, 2 and 3 are locked into flat HP, flat attack and flat defense. So we're going to focus on Disc 4, 5 and 6 instead. Disc 4, we're going to be looking for crit rate or crit damage depending on what you need for your crit ratios. Disc 5, we want physical damage with penetration ratio coming in second and attack percentage coming in third. And then Disc 6, we want attack percentage. And then for your substats, in all slots, we're going to look for crit rate and crit damage as the primary focus, with attack percentage and penetration after that. Alright, now lastly, let's take a look at Neko's preferred W engines. So clearly Nika's best in slot is going to be her signature weapon, the Steel Cushion. This is an amazing weapon that grants 24% crit rate and 20% physical damage unconditionally. It also gives her 25% bonus damage when attacking enemies from behind. And once again, it baffles me that this mechanic is not part of her core kit and is once again locked behind a signature weapon along with her M1. So if you're using this weapon, make sure that you maximize the use of the rear attack mechanic by using your ultimate and EX skills when behind the enemy. Her second best weapon option is going to be Soldier 11's signature weapon, the Brimstone. This is a pretty good general weapon and provides a 30% attack bonus and then further increases your attack by 3.5% attack for 8 seconds up to 8 times whenever you do a basic attack. So with how fast Nekomata attacks, you're going to have no problem ramping this up. There is, however, a 0.5 second cooldown in between each stack, so you're not going to be able to get the full stack bonus off of a single attack string. In terms of 4-star options, your best option is going to be the Starlight Engine. It gives you 25% attack, and then at S5 it gives you a 19.5% attack bonus for 12 seconds after performing a dodge counter or quick assist. So this works well for Nekomata as this is the exact same activation requirements as her core passive. So as long as you're playing Nekomata properly and utilizing her core passive, you also gain full use of this engine. And so that's it for my guide on Nekomata. I've had a lot of fun playing her and trying her out with different teams, but please don't take my word as gospel here and let me know down in the comments if you found other ways of playing her. If you've got any questions, leave a comment down below or head on over to the StarDB Discord where there are plenty of other proxies there waiting to answer your questions. This has been my first foray into character guides, so I'd love to hear your feedback. I hear you guys loud and clear on the lack of character guides for the lesser known characters, so I want to know what you guys are keen on seeing next. If there's a character that you want an in-depth guide on, let me know down in the comments.